as well as the past. And Matt Kearns, why don't you get the ball rolling?
Yeah, so I think we may have played each other, I think. I don't remember I remember that I had been on Miller Place varsity, but I remember that playoff year when you were on Mount Sinai, and we had lost at this point. And when you guys had gone up against Shoreham, I think it was the county championship 2019. It was one of the best lacrosse games I watched on TV. But that's kind of when I think I started to get to know you, and we started messaging. But I mean, that Mount Sinai team, and I mean, now is just so talented. So I mean, that's kind of like the beginning, I guess, for you. What would you say, in high school was like the biggest thing that helped get you to Stony Brook?
That game was my senior year too. Not exactly the way we wanted to end that out.
That was a tough game. Hard fought though. That was really hard fought.
A couple things didn't go our way, but it was way back in the past now. It is what it is. But even looking back all the way to high school, even from my younger years, freshman year up, like the talent I played with, I was always consistently going up against top guys in the country, top D1 guys, going to top D1 places with Jojo Pareca, Russell Marr, Griffin McGrath, obviously Joey Spallina. I've got a ton of talent to go up against every single day. Just help me get better every single day.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's like, I mean, we're literally, I went to Miller Place, so we're right next door to you guys. So you guys were whipping our butts most years, at least when I was there. So, and then for Rayna too, I mean, you also like Mount Sinai, the women's team is also like really, really strong year in and year out. What would you say for you too? Like, what was the biggest thing in high school that helped lead you to Stony Brook?
Yeah, same, kind of like the same aspect. I went up against great people every single day in practice that made me better every single day. We had, the type of culture that really prepared me for Stony Brook Lacrosse. It was you work hard and you get rewarded type of deal. Same thing that I did at Stony Brook, and it kind of just carried over. And that's, how I knew that I wanted to be somewhere where it was blue collar. I had to work hard and earn what I got. And so that's that.
Sets up an interesting question for both of you, however, because obviously you are not twins. So which one of you is the older one?
Me.
You are. So you went in first. Okay, so you go in, the coach, Joe Spallina, and you, Michael, you're playing against her coach's son. So there's got to be a story here. Okay, Rayna goes in, you're playing her coach's son, and how does that lead you to Stony Brook?
I mean, well, I think Stony Brook just kind of fit almost every box for me. Obviously, great lacrosse program, great medical school, close by, and I wanted to stay relatively close to home. And Rayna being here helped that a lot, helped ease my decision a lot, especially as it came down to the last couple of schools. It really made a path clear for me.
Okay, so, Matt, go ahead. Greg, go.
Yeah, so Rayna, what was the initial thing, aside from the work ethic and stuff, that drew you to come and play at Stony Brook?
Yeah, so I remember sitting in coach's office when I came on my first visit. I was, I believe, 15 or 16 years old. I was in 10th grade, and I had a day to make my decision. I was given a restriction by a different school that, now we beat up on. I'm not going to say the name, but we beat up on them the last couple of years for sure. And I remember just sitting in his office, and he painted that picture for me of wanting to go far, wanting to win a national championship, and how I could get involved and make an impact on that team immediately. And I was kind of just blown away by the values that he not only had for himself but brought to the team, and it was contagious to everybody. So everybody just wanted to work hard. Everybody wanted to win. He says all the time that being a tryhard, we're a team full of tryhards. And that's something that I matched that energy. I loved that. And that's ultimately what drove me there.
What was it like having your little brother come to Stony Brook?
Yeah, it was definitely a little funny. I was like, at first I was like, all my teammates, you better watch yourself. But yeah, so it was really fun. It was awesome to have, a sense of comfort. I was really happy to be able to help him adjust when he first got there. If he had any questions, where to go, if he got lost, I was able to help him with that. And I think it almost, and it made it better for him too in that kind of sense, just had a sense of home. And that's kind of what it gave me too. I remember one time I was actually in class and Mikey had like a massive asthma attack at lacrosse practice. And one of my friends calls me and he was like, Rayna, don't freak out. And I was like, whoop, here I go. And I was out of class sprinting across campus. I probably looked so funny, but that's just what it's all about, family. And I was so happy to have my brother there.
Michael, was that a deciding factor for you to be able to come to school with your sister? You said Stony Brook checked a lot of boxes. Was that one of them for you?
I think that's probably what tipped me over the edge. Probably one of the biggest things. Obviously, I wanted to stay relatively close to home. And just her being here, obviously, I knew everything about the school. I knew exactly what I was getting myself into. And like Rayna said, it's a sense of comfort. So just knowing that I was going to walk in, I was going to have good relations right out the door, I was going to know people, it made it a little easier for me.
And based on the last story here, it sounds like your sister saved your life that day.
I mean, almost, yeah. So that was my freshman year back in, 2020. Yeah, 2020, okay. Right before the COVID break, like literally 2 or 3 days before we got sent home. It was right after we played Bryant, and it was a tough game, especially for the defense. So me and the other D guys were being put through it a little bit in practice, rightfully so. But I just decided to not tell anybody about the asthma problem because I figured, I don't know, like that's not what coach wants to hear right now. So we just kept on going and going and going, and it kept getting worse and worse. But I just refused to say anything until it got really bad. And then, for me, the rest of it was kind of a blur. And the next part, I really remember. And I'm sitting in the bed, and I have a picture of it to this day with Rayna. Rayna took a selfie of me on the hospital bed with a little thing in my mouth, pumping the medication into my lungs. That's the first thing I remember from after that moment.
Nice. At your weakest moment. There you go. Jump right in.
Yeah,
nice job.
Typical older sister thing to do. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I'm sure, Rayna, you said, what have we learned today? But asthma is serious business. Let's definitely touch on that. And that's something that you definitely tell your coach is pre-existing condition. Now, people have lived with it. I remember, and this goes way, way back, that Bob Gibson, who was a Hall of Fame pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals, he actually endorsed an asthma medication, and that was mind-blowing because he's one of the 2 best pitchers in baseball at the time. So athletes in general, people live with it, but living with it does take a little bit of effort, and you have to stay on top of it, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, especially the whole D1 sports thing, trying to condition, really going through full sprints and long distances. It's tough. But I mean, eventually you start to get used to it a little bit. You never really get used to it, but with the help of the medications, it's really not that horrible. I mean, again, obviously some people get a little worse than others. Mine's probably mild. It's definitely not not noticeable. I have my fair share of problems, especially throughout the season, but not walking around. I won't have a hard time breathing walking from point A to point B.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I definitely have it a little better than some people do.
Now, Mike, you were a 3-sport athlete in high school, I think, right? Remind me, what did you play again?
I was a football player and a wrestler as well as lacrosse.
That's right. Was there a sport where it was most difficult between the asthma? Because I know especially with wrestling too, it's a lot of those grueling whereas football and lacrosse is a little bit more up and down too, but football is kind of a sprint, and then there's obviously the 30-second minute pause in between plays and whatnot. But was wrestling and lacrosse, were those the toughest sports to really have to get through the asthma with and kind of fight it? Or was there a certain moment in high school or that it really you felt you really had to push yourself or it got bad? And especially, I was just thinking with wrestling, it's just because all wrestlers that I know that play lacrosse are so well conditioned, and it's I with asthma, I can't even imagine having to go through a wrestling match.
Wrestling was by far the hardest thing. I think wrestling was the hardest thing that I might literally ever have to do, especially because of the asthma. My game plan going in, I was a good neutral wrestler. I would try to finish the match in the first period. That was my game plan because the later it went, the harder it was to breathe and the harder it got to wrestle.
Oh, like the Mike Tyson Mike Tyson strategy. Take him down the first round.
Exactly.
Don't have to worry about endurance. Just go boom.
So talking about, I guess, that worst moment where where it really hit me, my senior year in the state tournament, I had an asthma attack and had to injury DQ out of it.
That's annoying.
Stingy way to end it, but
that's tough.
Okay,
that's awesome though. Going all the way to states though, especially with the asthma.
This is a question for both of you.
Like, you're put in such a good position, and then it's not even just the fact that somebody was better than you that you get taken out. It's the fact that you just can't breathe, and it's frustrating. It sucks to look back on, but again, it is what it is.
This is a question that's perfect. First of all, it sets Mike up pretty good, but Rayna as well. Why lacrosse, and why did you single that out as your preferred sport that you were going to play at the top level?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, I started lacrosse when I was maybe 9 or 10 years old. And as I got older, I definitely tried other things. I played like middle school volleyball for 2 years, which is nothing crazy. I'm 5'3". I'm not going to have too much luck in the volleyball world. And I did try soccer. I wasn't the best with my feet. So after that, it was kind of just, I'm going to focus on one thing. That's what I knew I wanted to play in college at a certain point. So I figured I'm just going to put all my attention on that, work hard on that, condition, have the best stick skills I could, and just roll with it.
Mike?
I mean, for me, it was really just football, lacrosse. As much as I did, I wrestled throughout all of high school, I don't think that's something I ever considered doing into college. I would rave about wrestling forever and how much it's done for me and how much it's molded me. Wasn't exactly the most fun thing to do. Wasn't exactly a way I planned on spending my college career.
Now, go ahead.
No, sorry.
No, because again, you're playing football, right? And I'm sure because a lot of two-sport players, lacrosse and football, when they are lacrosse players, usually end up on defense. Was that really the case for you? Were you trying different positions and then felt you were best on defense? How'd that work out for you?
I think lacrosse was the last sport I ended up playing out of all of them. I was pretty late into lacrosse. And at that point, my stick was just so underdeveloped compared to everybody else because everybody else has been playing their whole lives. So then they just kind of stuck me on defense. They're like, hey, if you don't have a good stick, just be an athlete. And they stuck me on defense, and here I am.
You're a big kid. You hit people. Mm-hmm. And that was pretty much it. So,
Greg, go ahead.
Yeah,
Matt, go ahead.
Is there something that you guys saw in each other that inspired you? Rayna, why don't you go first? Is there something that you saw in your brother that you were like, wow, that's really impressive. I'm going to aspire to do that. And Michael, same with you with Rayna.
Yeah. So something that, Mikey's just, gifted, just very, very, very gifted athletically, intellectually. That's not something I was necessarily, blessed with. So I guess he kind of motivated me in that sense, then maybe work harder. But other than that, something that I see in Mikey is that he doesn't let obstacles get in his way. He's a perfectionist, I would say. And in that kind of sense, you see how he works hard. He's at the field every single day running. He's working out in a gym 2 hours a day. He has a stick in his hand. And then he's trying to balance all these things. Even in the summer, he's taking 3 courses. He's almost a full-time student. That's just something that, is admirable. And it's, I definitely take notes from him, even though he is my little brother. Big little brother.
Big little brother, yeah. A little big brother. Either way, right? And Mike, how about you?
I mean, piggybacking off of that, especially with the work ethic, I couldn't attribute that to anybody else other than Rayna, because way before I started really grinding like that and focusing so much on getting better, she's always been doing it. That's always been the kind of girl she's been. That's always been the kind of competitor she is. She's always working her tail off. So obviously watching from a younger brother's standpoint, seeing your older sister do that grind and everything works out for her, everything has gone so well, and she's had such a successful career, it was an inspiration for me to do the same thing.
Are you guys best friends?
Yeah, our family's pretty close. Me and all of our siblings are pretty tight.
There's more than just you two. in the family?
Oh yeah, we have.
Tell us all about it. What do we have here? Yeah.
Oh yes, we have a younger brother who actually just graduated a couple days ago. He's going to Springfield College to play lacrosse. And then we also have
blasphemy to go to Springfield.
I was literally just about to say we also have a younger sister who is committed here for lacrosse as well.
Oh, there you go. Carrying on the tradition. I love it. Yes. So it's the four of you guys.
Yeah.
Quarantine. I mean, that has got to be a circus of competition going on there.
Oh yeah, it was definitely fun. We bonded a lot as a family. We would go on walks. We would, play wiffle ball in the front yard. Just a bunch of things that, to be honest, we typically didn't do a lot because we were always on the run. And then we got locked down and we're like, oh my God, well, all we have is each other. So what are we going to do? We would, try to exercise. I know I would exercise with my sister. We would paint tables, just do a bunch of activities, but I kind of got ahead of myself and wouldn't let anybody touch it at one point, but it's okay. And, so just like a lot of family dinners, a lot of doing things together that we typically didn't, watching home videos. It was, not the best time, but at the same time, it was a good time for all of us to get closer.
Did you guys compete in anything at that point in time? Were there any tears, any broken bones, anything like that?
No. I think that table was just so you could not touch that thing. It didn't matter like what idea you had, like how good you thought you were going to do it. If you went anywhere near that table with that Rayna right there, fireworks were going off in our house.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
there you go.
Got a little ahead of myself, but
it's okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say I got to get some lessons from you guys about being a fan. About 2 days into quarantine, me and my dad were ready to like go at each other. I think we were. Yeah, you guys are talking about family bonding and stuff. I'm like, oh man, we got to go into the Sabella household or something for a couple days, get some lessons.
Oh no, there are plenty of those. Don't you worry.
Fair share.
I know. For me, it brings back memories. I'm one of 6. So.
Oh, so you get it.
Yeah. And all of us played something. But, but that's the other great thing is that you have each other to play and practice with. And that had to be a real asset. Even though the men's and women's games are different, you can still throw a ball around.
Yeah, definitely. Throw a ball around, shoot, all that kind of good stuff. Run.
So now we look ahead. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, I was going to kind of say, so that we get you here to Stony Brook. Your brother gets here as well, too. And I was just going to say, what is your favorite moment from Stony Brook, like watching each other play? What is something that you'll like never forget watching your brother or watching your sister play here?
That's tricky. I think it was kind of just when Mikey was a freshman because, he's a freshman. You never really know if you're going to play. You never know what you're going to get, how they're going to come in, because there's so much room for improvement when you come in as a freshman. And, there's not a whole lot of freshmen that play at this level. So I remember it was, I believe, like a St. John's game maybe. And I was sitting with, my team and all my friends in the stands. And it was Mikey's maybe like home debut. I don't even know what it was. But I just remember he was like behind the cage. And I remember him just completely like yard sailing this kid and just completely stripping him of his stick. The stick flies, the ball flies, and everyone's just like screaming. And then the next thing you know, I'm screaming on the top of my lungs like a lunatic because that's just how my family operates. So that's how I operate. And it was just like a really proud moment. And then I look up and then I see my whole family there. Grandma, grandpa, aunts, uncles, cousins, they all come and support. And it's just, a moment of appreciation. You get brother there. Like, what more can you ask for than your whole family come to each and every game? It's really special.
That's got to be maybe the best thing about selecting Stony Brook and being so close to home, because you have a large family. Your nuclear family is big enough to begin with, but having your extended family there too and making it a day of it, and for both you, for both your games, because usually when one team is home, the other is away, except for those occasional doubleheaders, and those must be really fun.
Yeah, it's definitely a whole day thing. Papa Sabella really loves the tailgates. So if you're ever around,
it's an understatement.
7:00 in the morning, he's there.
Always the first one in, last time we go.
It does. Go ahead.
So now, are you guys Italian?
Yeah.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, my mom's side of the family is Italian, and when they came to my athletic, my games and whatnot in high school, they came in large numbers and they were the loudest ones there. I think that it's just, it's so funny when it's like, I don't know what it is, but it's always a great bond to like have that in your family. I know I can definitely appreciate that.
Matt, there's a very famous restaurant in San Francisco called Sabella's, and guess what it is? But anyway,
Italian.
yeah. But in any case, one thing I definitely want to ask you though is, we need to start looking ahead, and for Rayna, we'll start with you. First of all, do you have you're taking classes right now? Where are you in terms of matriculation? How far do you have to go?
After this summer semester, I only have 6 credits, so 2 more classes to take.
Okay, so what are you going to graduate with? What kind of degree?
Master's in Higher Education Administration.
Okay, so that puts you in a perfect position to work in admin here if a job opens up.
Yep, totally.
And they give you now in that situation, do they give you a little bit of a head start? In other words, they might create an opening for you or something like that, because not too many people graduate with those degrees every year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I don't know if I'd necessarily say a head start, but if there ever was an opportunity, I wouldn't doubt that, if I was looking for one, that they wouldn't, let me know or come in right away. And even if I wasn't looking for one there, they would help me do whatever, I wanted to do, whether it was here or somewhere else, because that's kind of just the people they are in the athletic department,
Well, yeah, the athletic department, I can see where you could be. You're a Division I athlete. You know the drill already, and that gives you a huge head start. You can work in any department with that type of degree, but athletics, you're tailored for it. You're perfect for it.
Yeah, I'm like programmed. I didn't even, after I said that, I was like, wait, I could go anywhere. I'm just so programmed to just be, athletics that's just where my mind goes immediately.
What do you want to do with that? What would be your ideal job?
Yeah, so my undergrad was in business. After I had, I didn't know what I really wanted to kind of pursue until after, I was too far gone to go where I wanted to go. So as of right now, I'm really kind of set on being a school principal, school superintendent of, like a high school, middle school, elementary school. I'm in the program I am in now because I really wanted to take my 5th year and play lacrosse. So in order to do what I wanted to do, I would have to go get another master's in teaching, teach for a few more years, and then eventually become an administrator.
What would you want to teach?
Maybe special ed. I'm not really sure. I really like little kids as well, so I feel like I would work well with them. Other than that, I have a degree in business, so if I could be a business teacher, that would be awesome. So yeah, because I don't have any, specializations in like math. I probably could in school, but I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, sometimes you forget on the collegiate level, the coaches are full-time coaches. On the high school level, the coaches all teach.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that would be something you'd be interested in doing as well, too?
Yep, definitely.
And obviously lacrosse, but if you could coach a second sport, what would it be?
Gosh, I don't know much about many other sports, to be honest. If I had to pick one, yeah, I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you, to be honest.
Your volleyball skills, would that come into play here?
from my 13-year-old self.
And Michael, what about you? As far as your plans, your future plans. Obviously you're still playing, but then, after that, what are we studying? What do we want to be when we get older?
I'm a bio BA. Right now, I'm literally just going through the undergrad programs. I'm going to take my 5th year, so I'm not entirely sure what specific post-grad program I'm going to stick myself into. Probably something along sort of a health medicine society kind of minor or something like that. I don't know. And then from there, it's either right off to nursing school, med school, or I've heard there's a program opening up at Stony Brook specifically for CRNAs. So if that is a thing, I'm not entirely sure yet. And that's also a possibility.
Explain to us who don't know what that means.
A CRNA?
Yes.
It's a nurse anesthesiologist. So like the person who puts the needle in your arm and puts you down under for surgery.
Interesting. What makes you want to do that?
It's, well, first off, it's hard. It's probably the hardest specialization that I could do. But the reason I want to do it so bad, and I'm taking that extra step, trying to squeeze in all these extra classes, is the hours are great and the pay is even greater. So it's something where I'd be able to be not my own boss, but I could dictate my own hours, dictate when I come into work, when I leave work, and I still make enough money to support myself, support my family, and support everybody. Like Rayna. Yeah.
Well, you know what? This actually is perfect because you're both in situations where you are basically poster children for the fifth year. In other words, you had your degrees, you had your undergraduate degrees pretty much wrapped up, and you got the opportunity to play an additional year. So now you got to think of something. What am I going to study while I play? And you're kind of forced into it. Well, if you graduate after 4 years, you might put it off for a little while. This kind of opened up another opportunity for you and a lot of other players too.
I mean, I think at the same time as well, when we say force into it, even though like, yeah, I'm doing extra school, it's also only going to boost my resume. It's only going to make everything else from here on out easier while still being able to play lacrosse at the highest level. So I'm going to continue doing what I love. I'm going to continue playing. And at the same time, I'm going to make everything further down the line easier for me, easier to get into whatever post-grad school I want to go into. Better on my applications when I'm looking for a job, just kind of evens out.
Okay. Dana, was there any thought for you in putting your name into the portal and transferring somewhere else, or was it Stony Brook the whole time?
Oh, that thought never ever crossed my mind. I was Stony Brook till I die, and I still am. Always will be, probably.
And Michael, it sounds like you're in that same position, right?
Yeah, I mean, I still got 2 more years to go. I'm going to be here for a while.
I'm sure Coach is excited for that to occur, I would imagine.
I hope so.
And I'm going to pretty much guarantee that one for you. Now, we talked about, Michael, I don't know if we got back to you for your favorite moment watching your sister.
Yeah. So last season, obviously she had a great season as is, but I think just seeing that announcement that she was the America East Defensive Player of the Year was just awesome. I feel like throughout the early portions of her career, whether it's high school, middle, even travel lacrosse, whatever it may be, I feel like she was a little underappreciated, and seeing that all coming together and she's recognized as the top defensive player in the entire conference, one of the best defensive players in the entire country. It was about time. So just seeing that finally get released, finally people acknowledging it, it was nice. I guess it was just, nice.
Yeah, that was
how else to say it. It was about time.
That was a perfect segue actually into the next question I was going to ask. You said America East, and we've asked all of the people that we've had on the show. We usually get the same reaction, but we've got to ask it. When you guys got the notice, this was what, March, I believe.
It was February. It was just before the season started. Or
yes.
Matter of fact, I think it may have actually been underway for lacrosse when it happened.
It was right at the beginning, as soon as we got back, it was maybe a week later.
Yeah, because we had McCannell on, and then we also had Charlie Campbell on. So both two of your teammates. But what was your first reaction when you guys got the news? Where were you, and how exactly was it broken to you guys?
We found out at the same time as everybody else found out, including our coaches. It was kind of leaked before they announced it to everybody. It was all over Twitter before the commissioner, I guess, went and said it to all the coaches. So we're sitting in the locker room with me and a couple of the guys who had early morning classes, and I'm looking at my phone and I see that. I'm like, that's got to be fake. Somebody sends it in a group chat. I'm like, it's got to be fake. And I keep looking a little bit. I'm on Instagram. I'm looking it up, and you just keep seeing more and more of it. And I text my coach, and he's like, listen, they haven't even told us yet, so we don't even know if that's official. But then eventually it was confirmed. So it was such a time of confusion. Obviously it was heartbreaking. It was really frustrating, especially the way the year before ended. We had such a big chip on our shoulder. We were so ready to prove it wrong to everybody in that conference. And that was taken away. And it sucked.
Yeah. No, I remember me and you were texting about it. Like, I remember that, you had posted and you got, the season before you guys were looking to come in. Like, afterwards, when you got that, what was the thing that kind of helped you guys, motivate you guys through the season, knowing that, you lost that automatic bid if you had won the conference and you're going to have to get an at-large?
I honestly, it was really just a matter of staying together and showing the grit, showing all who we are deep down as a team. And I think the way that we were able to stick together and the way that we pushed through that year, we still ended, even though I think we could have done much better and we had our fair share of games that we should have won and didn't. It is what it is. We still ended 10-5, I believe, right? So to be able to band together after that happens, after that bombshell, and just link arms and push through all of the year, especially after that late season run, and just keep on grinding. It's just a tribute to the guys that we had in that locker room, and it's a tribute to the leaders that we had in that locker room.
Yeah, McCannell had a funny response when we asked him that. We asked him what kept you guys going. He's like, well, we still had America East teams on our schedule, and he's like, our goal was to beat every America East team on the schedule and show the America East why we're better than them and why we're moving to the CAA. And it was such a funny way to put it in perspective that, even though it's going to be tough, that there was something to play for, that to beat up on them and kind of, stick it to them a little bit and say, well, if you don't want us, we're going to move on. We're going to beat up on all your competition and move to a better conference.
Yeah, and I think that's also what partially, that's what sparked that last end of the season push. We go through, we lose a couple of games that probably should have won, and we were in positions to win that we may have thrown away. And it sucks. It's frustrating. We're in a little bit of a slump. And we just took a minute. Coach Ghilardi brought us in. We took a minute, took a deep breath, and we're like, listen, now it's time to shove it back in the face of the rest of this conference and show them why we're leaving and show them why we're, going to a better tier of lacrosse, a better tier of athletics all around. And I think the fact that, again, that we were able to link arms and really push through towards that end of the year, it says a lot about the guys that we had.
Rayna, I can only imagine Joe Spallina saying basically the same thing.
Yeah, from the second they said that, there on out, we were, an independent. They could have, given us all the conference, weekly awards that we wanted. He didn't care. We didn't care. We wanted to take that patch right off our jersey. It was kind of from there on out, we were ourselves. We didn't need them. We didn't want their help. We didn't want their, automatic bid. It stinks, especially for, seniors that like me, because, that's the championship's a fun weekend. It's a fun weekend, and we were going to win, not to be like that, but we were going to win. So, it's just a fun, moment to have, to cut that net, to celebrate with your team and with the guys' team and all that good stuff and all the other, athletes around campus. But our kind of goal plan after that was to just destroy any America East team that comes our way and to just make a statement as we were leaving. And so, yeah, that was pretty much that.
You said two things. You said, take the patch off, and we're an independent. And I said this right when the announcement was made. Stony Brook is a de facto independent, and the fact that you said that meant all your team was thinking the exact same way, which I get a kick out of. It means that I had you figured out, which was good. But the other thing about it is that I was thinking, and Greg and I were on the air mentioning it several times, is that you're probably thinking, okay, they can't beat us, so they kick us out. Okay, sure.
Exactly. That is exactly what it was. They wanted to give another team an opportunity, and they took it. They won. But, if we were in it, it wouldn't have gone that way.
We also said, and Greg will back me up on this, that of all the teams, when the announcement came down, that had the least to worry about it when it came to this was your team, that you're getting an at-large. There's no doubt about it. All you had to do was do what you were planned on doing anyway. And, again, over the years, you probably heard the same thing over and over again, especially when you got low seedings in the tournaments or, seedings that you didn't deserve. Let's put it that way. That, oh, you don't play anybody. You play in the America East, despite the fact that you maul them every year. But imagine, so now it's like at large or bust. And what kind of motivation? I'm sure that definitely motivated you further.
Yeah, it definitely did. It just left a chip on our shoulder, and we kind of just wanted to be like, we could do the same exact thing that, we do with you, without you. It, with the conference and the scheduling thing, we do beat up on them, but at the same time, coach has been putting together schedules that are undeniable. Our RPI this year was extremely good. I do think, and a lot of people do think and agree, that we got seeded, wrongfully again this year, but that's in the past, so it is what it is. But hopefully from here on out, the CAA will give us that nice little boost that we need, and we're just going to keep building out of conference games that really build our RPI up and get a winning record that really stands out.
How annoying has that been over the years? Every year, going number one through most of the year and getting a 5 seed, for example, that must have really, people must have been really upset over that.
Yeah, that was a really big slap in the face. I remember that year we were expecting at least a 4 seed to put us home. We were number one in the country the entire year, and of course they just put us at 5. We play the same team we're going to play if we were 1 seed higher, just away. And yeah, so that was definitely a nice little slap in the face. But we don't expect really anything else at this point.
Greg?
Yeah, I was going to say, is that I thought the being 8, 7-8, that was the big slap in the face this year. Did that one hurt as much this year as it did when you got relegated to the 5 seed when you won the entire year, or has it become something that you expected?
It's become something that it's probably expected. We know that we're not probably the most favorited team. We always get gypped when it comes to seeding for the NCAA tournament. So it's not something that, I was necessarily fully expecting. I had really expected this year to be given the 7 seed at least, but given the 8, I also wasn't extremely shocked. No, not at all.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate thing that you guys feel that way as well too, because it's almost like become a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way, right? Mm-hmm. That's going to, as well as you guys have played the entire year, and that's kind of how it goes when the selection committee gets together.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Like on your side, however, you guys didn't have it quite so easy. I mean, again, season just starting, but you basically had to win out. I mean, yes, you could probably say maybe getting past Rutgers might have gotten you in at large, but it was going to be a tougher road no matter what. But what was the feeling going in? Did you feel you still had a chance at large?
Absolutely. And I mean, looking at the guys in the locker room and playing against these top guys, playing all the best players in the country, we're right there. Individually, we're right there. We just haven't put together that full season, that full 15 games yet, but it's coming. And everybody will see it once we do put that together, and we'll be right back up there.
Mike, I thought the comment that you made earlier about, kind of weathering the storm in the middle of the season did show a lot of character from you guys. Because I remember watching, and it was like these unbelievable wins, exciting wins at the beginning of the season, right? And it's like playing so well. And the game against Rutgers, I thought was a tremendous game. I know it's a loss and you want to win that game, but what a good game that was as well, too. And then it kind of fall into a little bit of a slump. And I remember kind of thinking to myself, wow, this could become a long season with everything that's transpired. And I just think that point that you made too, and I really think it is a credit to the coaching staff and to the team as well too. You guys should be commended for turning around and coming back and playing so well that you guys did in the second half of the year. I mean, that shows a lot of character on the whole team's, on their part, on your part, shall we say.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that. But just like you said, I mean, the leading from the top down, from Coach Gallardi, all the other coaches, all the way down to the lowest guy on the depth chart, we all just banded together. We took a deep breath and we just kept pushing.
Was there a mantra that you guys used this year from the coaching staff or maybe from the players or, kind of internally that you guys, did to kind of keep yourselves going? Like we were saying, the women were de facto independent, but you felt confident in them being able to make the tournament. That's a different feeling for you guys. What was something that you guys did, said, believed in, or the coaches brought your way that kind of kept you guys gelled?
it was all about us. The entire year was all about us. And if you look at all those games, you look at the game versus Rutgers, the offense plays fantastic. Defense, not so much. We fall one goal short. We let up 17. And it wasn't anything special those other teams did in those games that we lost and in those games that we won. It wasn't special anything that we did. It was all about us just playing our own game, following the rules, what we're coached to do, putting it all together. And when we played our game, we won games. And when we didn't, we lost games. And especially looking back now, I mean, obviously throughout the season, that was echoed a lot. Like, we play our game, everything will sort out, everything will go exactly how we plan it to go. And looking back, watching game film after games, you see it. When we don't do what we're coached to do and we don't follow the plan, things go downhill. But when we do, like, when we play our game, we win. Simple as that. So now that we know that going forward, stick to your guns, you follow the plan, and things will be all right.
What do we think about the CAA for next year? As you're kind of saying that, like, we follow the game plan and we're going to be successful, going into the CAA next year. I mean, that certainly is a raise in the level of competition, I think, for the men's lacrosse program. And how do we feel about that? What are we thinking moving forward?
I'm excited. And I look at those teams in the conference and I look at the teams in pretty much any conference. If we play our game with the guys that we have and the talent that we have around the locker room, like, we could win that conference. We could make a push in the playoffs. It really comes down to us, and it always has come down to us. And I'm excited to play some of these bigger teams. I'm excited to play Delaware, Towson, Hofstra. But again, it's about us. And we go in there next year, we buckle down, we do what we're taught to do, we play our game, we'll win that conference.
Now, one thing, go ahead, Greg, keep going.
No, it was Matt. Excuse me, Matt. You can jump on that.
No. You got Matt Kearns. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask, because Rayna, you had graduated, and obviously that's going to open a spot for someone else to step up. Is there a player or a couple players that are sort of beneath the depth chart that you think that next year are really going to take a step up in their game, just the experience you've had with them of practicing, that you can say that we'll probably be calling their name a lot in the commentating booth?
Yeah, Ellie Massera is a good one. She's still so young. Claire Levy at the same time. They're both extremely talented, extremely athletic players that we're going to lead the team next year. And in terms of younger players, we have a couple midfielders that really stood out this year as freshmen, and coach always says, it was Alex Fusco and Molly LaForge, and he says that Alex Fusco is a mini me and Molly LaForge is a mini Siobhan Rafferty. So, when I think of them like that, you kind of see how they operate, and after freshman year, you kind of don't get as much playing time. That's kind of how it goes when you go into that summer and you attack it. And in the fall, I'm sure that they're going to come back and they're going to make an impact immediately. And they're going to be those, two-way middies that are able to, score and are able to play the defense properly and aggressively, and could really have an impact on their team next year.
The one thing.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, man. I was going to say, what's your thoughts about the CAA, Rayna, for next year's team?
I think it's a good move for Stony Brook in the long run. I think that if there was a time to do it, it had to be done. The American East kind of just wasn't fitting for us anymore. We've outgrown them. And I think that the competition is going to bring, the school to the next level athletically, but also, academically. It'll raise a new standard for, student athletes, and even for, the staff and faculty members and the administrators. So I think it's a good move in the long run, and it was a very smart move.
Do you think,
Matt, you always said when the books are open, right? It's time to make the move.
Yeah, that was the thing I said. It was kind of like, remember Goodfellas and some of the other mom movies. When the books are open, people can move up in the organization, and the opportunity came for the CAA, and that's exactly what I said. The books were open, and but what it does lead to, however, is another thing that was said. I think it was an Inside Lacrosse article came out around the time that said that maybe finally Stony Brook will get some respect in the seedings if they're coming out of the CAA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, the competition for the women's lacrosse as well, I think, is definitely a step up from the American East. So hopefully, we won't hear too much about that that in-conference stuff anymore. How, we play, okay teams, and now we're playing teams like Drexel, who have been in the NCAA tournament, Hofstra, who always gives us a good game in that Long Island battle, and like Towson, who, a couple of years ago, we only won by 2 against them in the first game we played them. So, they're all like very good teams who have made great strides in their program. And I think it will really give us a nice boost. And I actually hope it will give us a nice boost in the NCAA seeding. That's probably the better word for it.
Yeah. And you look on the men's side too, Mike, and you see Delaware going all the way to the quarterfinals, going against Cornell and putting up a decent game. What do you think in terms of the men's, you guys moving up? How do you guys think that you'll fare against some of that competition? Because it is absolutely, definitely a step up from, the America East bid Vermont, who, Maryland basically ran through everyone. But I mean, a Delaware team that were real underdogs and kind of, showed the world a little bit who they were.
I think Delaware is a blueprint, honestly. Not exactly like team-wise, but just in what they did. They were an underdog. They went in, they beat the number 2 seeded team in the country, and they went on a run. And I look at that team and see what they did, and I look at our team and know that we're capable of the same exact thing. We're capable of going to that deep into the tournament. So that's just like, you look forward to playing teams like that, and you look forward to being in this conference and proving that to everybody. Because that's all there is to it. You just got to prove it.
How does the defensive unit look next year with you in it?
We're going to have a lot of new faces, but we're also going to have a lot of old faces. Obviously, I'm coming back. Christian's coming back. David's coming back. We got a lot of D-middies returning, and we got a lot of talented D-middies returning. J-Mo is going to be ready to step up next year. I'm really excited for him. And then we're going to have a couple new guys come in, which new guys always do come in. You saw Jacob last year. You saw Chris Merle last year. 2 guys made an impact immediately from stepping on campus. We just got to buckle down with what we got, and we got to be ready for the new guys to come in. There's always going to be a couple of new guys that come in, step on the field, be ready to play. We're going to mesh together, and we're going to make a stand.
Guys?
I thought that I do think you have, and I think the one thing you have coming back in, it was kind of like an interesting move from an outside perspective in the goal, because I thought that, and this is not a knock by any stretch, but I thought that Anthony Palmer was having a really nice season. And then when they brought in, what's his name? Help me with the new goalie's name.
J-Mo.
Yeah. So anyway, he came in, and I thought he played exceedingly well. It was almost like we talked about the women's program having almost like an embarrassment of riches with 2 really good goalies, and it turned out that Jamison McLachlan and Anthony were kind of like that as well too. Kind of a little bit of an embarrassment of riches, where you had 2 goalies that I think had really, really nice seasons as well too. So I think that is got to be a comforting factor for you guys as well too, is you've got a little bit of a proven commodity in the goal. It always makes things a little easier.
Yeah, it's super reassuring knowing that J-Mo's going to be coming back. That was his freshman year. That was the rusty J-Mo. That was the brand new J-Mo playing his first year at college lacrosse. He's only going to get better. So we're going to get better in the goal, which is really, really nice. You can sleep well at night as a defenseman, knowing that an already good goalie's got the sky's the limit and only is going to be getting better every year.
Rayna, we talked to Charlie Campbell a few weeks ago, and we realized, well, first of all, she had a great playoff run, as everybody knows. Do you think that maybe she got the nod because she talked the better game? Because, she really proved to be a leader out there.
Yeah, she definitely came in and stepped up to the plate right away. Every week there was unreal competition for who was going to start in that goal. So it was kind of just who was hot. It was who was going to come and show up that week on game day. I remember coach made decisions on who was starting, and then in warm-ups, changed them based on how, they were warming up. So, immediately Charlie came in and made an impact, and she's vocal. She's a leader. She brought in, the defense when it needed to be brought in, and she definitely put her foot down and commanded that, what the defense needed to do and how they needed to play in front of her. And, especially with the defense as complex as ours, she came in and tried her best, and did learn it, tried to understand it, and made an impact. But Cam as well is, completely unreal. She's extremely athletic, and she's playing for the Canada national team in the world games coming up soon. So I'm really excited for her too. And I tip my cap to both of them because they're just both really outstanding people and goalies.
Now, do you continue to? Are you planning on continuing to play at some level once you're done here at Stony Brook?
No, I do not have any plans of continuing to play.
So we've left it all on the table. No regrets here?
Nope, no regrets.
Good for you. That's a great position to be in.
Yep, no regrets. It's nice being able to look back and, say that you worked hard and you didn't really leave much on the table. I tried my best to come to practice every day and, bring my lunch pail. And because of that, I kind of feel fulfilled in my college experience. Looking back, like in the North Carolina game, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. But those are things that, are out of my control. Outside of that, I'm, content.
What would be the best piece of advice you think you could give a player coming in as a freshman, or maybe even the returning players who have a couple years left?
Yeah. So I'll give two things with if you work hard and you empty the tank, things will just come to you. That's kind of something that, I've learned. If I didn't work hard every single day, I wouldn't have done the things that I've done. I wouldn't have, been a leader. I wouldn't have done so many things and helped take my team to the Elite Eight for the, I don't know how many year in a row. And then other than that, I would just say probably to, take in every moment because it does go by super fast, and, use that as fuel, because at the end of the year, when you're crying in the huddle and everybody's emotional because you're going to look around and you're never going to see the same team again. It's always going to be different. Each year it's going to be different. You can't take those moments for granted because they go super fast. So that's definitely something that I would give.
And Michael, how about you? How about some, what advice would you give incoming player?
You just got to be patient. I mean, I came in my first 2 or 3 weeks. I was awful. And I remember my coach telling me after in the spring, because I obviously turned it around. In the spring, I started every game that year. And he comes up to me and he goes, after those first 2 weeks, we didn't even know if you would ever touch the field. We didn't know if you would ever play. So you just got to be patient and trust yourself. Like, the process of jumping from high school to college, it's a huge jump. It's not easy. Some people make it faster than others, but you just got to be patient. You can't panic, and you just got to keep working because eventually you'll get it.
How do you respond to a comment like that from a coach?
I thought it was hilarious because, I mean, nobody's harder on me than I am. So, like, if he thought I was playing bad, you can only imagine what I was thinking. So I come in and the fact that he was able to say that to me just showed how much I've turned it around and how much that, like, I changed from the fall of my freshman year to the beginning of the spring, completely different player. So again, like, just the fact that he said that to me just showed me how much I grew, because he would never say that if I didn't grow,
And I think that's a really good point. Yeah, he has the comfort to be able to say that because of the achievement or the how much better you've gotten personally as a player.
Yeah,
good way to look at it.
Okay, folks. You got one more in, Matt?
Yeah, I got I thought might be a fun question here for our brother and sister duo. What's your biggest pet peeve of each other?
Oh, God. You go first.
That is a good one.
Oh, yeah.
You go first.
She takes my food all the time. And it's so frustrating, especially back in high school when I was wrestling. I'd be sucking weight and I would finally finish a match. Yeah, you see it in her face. I'd finish a match or a tournament and I would be gassed. I'd have no energy. I haven't eaten in days. And I would get some, like, grotesque amount of food and she would just walk in and take it. And I would be pissed.
Yeah, there was actually
That's got to be my biggest pet peeve.
we had a really big blowout after one of those once.
Because of
Mikey had like a whole pie of pizza, and I just wanted a slice, and he wouldn't let me take a slice of it. I was like, all right.
I didn't eat for 2 days, so I was literally sitting there, and that pie of pizza was the only thing getting me through that wrestling tournament. The only thing getting me through that week was just that pie of pizza, and she goes in, she starts picking at it.
All right, can't talk about it. It's winning mad.
Yeah, I was going to say we're still holding a little grudge on this one. It's been a couple years.
Yeah, it's unsettled.
I was gonna say, if you guys are younger, I'm sure Halloween was interesting with the candy going at it. If I'm sure Mike, if Rayna was taking all your candy then too.
I love food. I'm a picker.
Yeah, she picks at it.
All right, well, my turn, I guess. I would say my biggest pet peeve of Mikey, is that anything that he does other than on the lacrosse field, he is so slow. Like, if you're like in a rush to go somewhere, he will be like moving like a snail to get in the shower, to get out the door. Like, Mikey, I gotta go. He don't care. He'll take his time. Like, yeah, that's my pet peeve.
I'm cool and collected.
Yep. Nope.
I like that. Calm, cool, and collected. There you go. Cool hand Luke over here.
I can only imagine what, especially when you're all in high school together and middle school, what mornings must have been like. I mean, first of all, with the 6 in my family, you knew who took longest in the shower, because if you were the one after that person, you got really, really, really annoyed. But it's been a great hour we spent with you, and learned a lot too from both of you. That I think the program's in good hands, and I also think that both of you contributed greatly to its success, and we're looking forward to hearing a lot from you in the future, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So thank you so much for your time, Rayna Sabella and Michael Sabella, both members of their respective lacrosse teams. Rayna has graduated. Michael says a couple of years ago, so we'll be hearing from him in the future. And because they are locals and they attend each other's games, we'll probably be hearing from Rayna a lot too. So that's great. Thank you so much.